Hey guys, welcome to a new episode. Today's video is going to be about group projects. In my experience, they're often the bane of everyone's existence. I was in a group project for a class last semester. The project required us to work in groups of 4 and present a research project. We had to pick our own topic within reason, something related to the course. We went into the professor's office, which was the agreed-upon location for the presentation. She asked if someone could lend her a pair so she could read her slides, but no one had a pair that would work. Apparently, she had been able to get her glasses fixed because I had borrowed them when she needed them most. On one hand, the bookworm sounds like a bit of a Corinne, and she definitely could have been more receptive to your feedback. On the other hand, I don't think you needed to be condescending towards her. Even if someone is being difficult, I personally try to stay empathetic because it is possible that there is more to their behavior than meets the eye. And even if she's mad at you, I don't think that an apology is warranted. Personally, I think that you did the right thing by staying out of it, because I can only imagine how frustrating it must have been to be in that situation. With all of that said, I also don't think that you should continue to antagonize her. So maybe just let it go and hope that she does the same. Ultimately, this situation sounds very stressful, and I'm sorry that you had to deal with it. I hope that you can find a way to resolve this conflict with the bookworm, and I wish you all the best in your classes. For example, maybe she was stressed about something at home, or maybe she has anxiety, or maybe she was having an off day. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And don't forget to check out my social media, because I post there pretty much daily. So if you want to see a new face around here every single day, then please go over and follow me there. Anyways, I've been your host, and until next time, happy conflict avoiding. There could be any number of reasons why she was acting out. That's not to excuse her behavior, but I think that there was a better way that you could have handled this situation. I told her that I had only meant to lend them to her temporarily, and that she should have told me sooner if she needed them for longer. So even if the bookworm was rude to you, I would still try to be kind, because it is possible that she was just having a bad day. And if you kind, I think you should have offered to lend them to her, regardless of whether or not you thought that she deserved it. Regardless of how she responded, you would have been the hero in that situation, and I do think that it would have damaged your relationship with her, because in that moment she probably would have been too panicked to be mean. Now, I know that you mentioned that you did offer to lend her your glasses, but I'm assuming that you only offered after she snapped at you. At that point, she was probably too overwhelmed to realize that you were being nice, and I do think that your offer would have been well received, even if you had offered first. Still, I think you should have done it. If nothing else, you might have saved her from getting a bad grade, and I do think that is a bad thing. There's a chance that she'd be kind back. Additionally, I don't think you should have commented on her slides at all. It sounds like you didn't have the best relationship with the bookworm, so any feedback that you gave her could have easily come off as an attack. You could have easily just said that you liked her slides, and that is really the only thing you needed to say. The reality is that when you're in a group project, you don't need to worry about giving feedback to the other members unless you want to. Your main goal should just be to get your part of the project done. If you think that your group members could improve their work, you can offer feedback, but you shouldn't be surprised if they get defensive. The bottom line is that you're not responsible for the work that they do." She called me an asshole and stormed off. I don't know where she's gotten that idea from, but now she is telling people that I intentionally sabotaged her project and ruined her grade because I didn't want to let her borrow my glasses. She claims that I did it out of spite because she wouldn't listen to my feedback earlier in the semester. I talked to the professor about it, but he doesn't believe me because she has a reputation for being a good student. I haven't spoken to her since, and I don't plan on defending myself to her or anyone else. I just want this semester to be over. I don't want to dredge this whole thing up again. I guess I'm just wondering if I should apologize for borrowing her glasses without asking. Even though she was the one who asked to borrow them, I feel like I should have known that she needed them for longer than I did. Like, I know it's petty, but I kind of feel like she deserves it. She started to panic and began asking if we could reschedule or if the professor would accept a written presentation instead. I tried to help by offering to let her borrow my glasses, but she snapped at me and told me to shut up. It was obvious at this point that she was extremely nearsighted and that she couldn't see anything without her glasses. After a few minutes of her panicking, we finally convinced her to just wing it without the slides. She gave the presentation without them, and it went terribly. She couldn't remember any of the information, and she ended up just reading whatever was written on the board. She ended up getting a really bad grade, and I felt bad for her. He had apparently forgotten that we had a presentation scheduled, and he needed to cancel. The professor, however, wasn't there. Needless to say, we were all annoyed, but my group decided to present anyway, since we were all prepared. One was a bookworm who always had an answer to every question we had. One was really good at writing and compiling data. This group was set up for success, so we presented in the hallway outside the professor's office. And then each person in the group had to give a presentation on one aspect of the topic. My 3 other colleagues were pretty cool, and the other was a great presenter. Let me know if that's true for you. And if you want to hear my tips on how to deal with group projects, keep watching. I agreed, but little did I know this would become a source of tension later on. The bookworm got done with her research and came to me with a rough draft of her slides. She asked if I could take a look before she gave them to the rest of the group so she could get feedback. I looked them over and told her that the slides were very dense and hard to follow. I suggested that she remove some of the information and focus on just the main points. She became very defensive and said that she spent a lot of time on those slides and that she doesn't appreciate me telling her what to do. I told her that I wasn't trying to tell her what to do, but that I wanted the presentation to go smoothly and that I thought her slides could be improved. But she didn't listen and instead started making changes to her slides to make them even more dense. This scenario comes from a Reddit user. However, during the initial planning phase, it was decided that I would be the one to present first in the presentation. After a few days, she came to me again with the updated slides, and I told her that I didn't think they were much better and that I still thought she should remove some of the information. She got really angry and told me that she is tired of me criticizing her work and that I should just mind my own business since I am not the one presenting. She stormed off, and that was the end of that. I decided to stay out of it because it wasn't my project anyway. A few weeks later, it was time for us to give our presentations. When it was the bookworm's turn to present, she stopped after a few slides and announced that she could not continue because she forgot her glasses at home. You didn't do anything wrong in this story. However, after the presentation, she approached me and demanded that I apologize for sabotaging her presentation. Okay, this is a super interesting story, and it seems very real. So I can understand both sides here. If someone is being difficult, I generally try to respond to their bad behavior with good behavior. Now, with that said, I do think that you should have stepped in when the bookworm said that she couldn't give her presentation because she forgot her glasses. Lastly, I don't think you should apologize. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video.